That guy's not a doctor. He's an actor. Stephanie's been lying to you. She was never pregnant.
Lying bitch!
The wrestling world has been rocked by whispers, rumors, and behind-the-scenes drama that goes deeper than any storyline WWE has ever produced. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most shocking developments in WWE's modern era, the rumored marriage crisis between two of wrestling's most powerful figures, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. But here's the thing, Wrestling Zone faithful, what we've uncovered goes far beyond simple marital problems. This story involves corporate power struggles, family betrayals, and secrets that could reshape the entire landscape of WWE forever. Let's start from the beginning. Paul Levesque, better known as Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon weren't just any wrestling couple, they were wrestling royalty. Their relationship began in the late 90s, during the height of the Attitude Era, when storylines blurred the lines between fiction and reality in ways we'd never seen before. What started as an on-screen storyline gradually became real-life romance, culminating in their 2003 wedding. But this wasn't just two people falling in love, this was a strategic alliance that would reshape WWE's power structure for decades to come. Stephanie, as Vince McMahon's daughter, represented the future of the McMahon dynasty. Triple H, meanwhile, was positioning himself not just as a main-event wrestler, but as a future executive and decision-maker. Their marriage created the ultimate wrestling power couple, with influence that extended far beyond the squared circle. For years, they appeared unstoppable. Triple H transitioned from full-time wrestler to executive, eventually taking control of WWE's developmental territory NXT and transforming it into a critically acclaimed brand. Stephanie climbed the corporate ladder, becoming chief brand officer and one of the most recognizable faces of the WWE brand. But behind the glossy corporate presentations and picture-perfect family photos, sources close to the couple suggest that cracks were beginning to form in their seemingly perfect union. The first hints of trouble began surfacing around 2019, coinciding with several major changes in WWE's structure and direction. Industry insiders started whispering about tensions between Triple H and Stephanie that went beyond typical work-related stress. According to multiple sources within WWE's inner circle, the couple began experiencing fundamental disagreements about the company's creative direction. Triple H, who had built NXT into a beloved brand among hardcore wrestling fans, reportedly felt that his vision for wrestling was being systematically dismantled by decisions made at the corporate level. Stephanie, meanwhile, was focused on WWE's mainstream appeal and corporate partnerships. As the company pursued lucrative deals with streaming platforms and expanded into new markets, sources suggest she prioritized business metrics over the creative elements that Triple H held dear. These professional disagreements reportedly began spilling over into their personal relationship. Friends of the couple describe a growing distance between them, with both parties spending increasing amounts of time focused on their respective responsibilities rather than their marriage. The situation allegedly reached a boiling point during the 2021 WWE draft and subsequent roster changes. Multiple wrestlers and backstage personnel reported witnessing heated arguments between the couple in corporate offices, something that had never been seen before in their nearly two-decade relationship. But the real bombshell came when we started digging deeper into the corporate restructuring that followed WWE's eventual sale to Endeavor Group and merger with UFC to form TKO Group Holdings. Here's where our investigation takes a shocking turn. Multiple sources within WWE and TKO have revealed that the marriage crisis between Triple H and Stephanie wasn't just personal, it was being deliberately orchestrated and exploited by corporate interests who saw their relationship as an obstacle to maximizing profits. According to these sources, certain executives within the TKO structure viewed the McMahon family's emotional attachments and internal relationships as inefficiencies that needed to be managed or eliminated. The goal was to transform WWE from a family business with deep personal connections into a streamlined corporate entity focused solely on financial performance. Our sources indicate that pressure was deliberately applied to create friction between Triple H and Stephanie, with different corporate fact irons feeding each of them conflicting information about company decisions and future plans. This psychological manipulation was designed to drive a wedge between them, making it easier to consolidate power under new leadership structures. The most explosive allegation comes from a former WWE executive who claims that private investigators were hired to monitor both Triple H and Stephanie's communications and activities. The stated purpose was corporate security, but the real goal was gathering leverage that could be used to control or remove them if necessary. This source alleges that evidence of marital problems was actually compiled into reports that were shared with TKO executives, who viewed the couple's personal struggles as an opportunity to further marginalize their influence within the company. Even more disturbing are claims that certain corporate figures actively worked to amplify conflicts between Triple H and Stephanie, hoping that a public divorce would create enough chaos and distraction to justify major leadership changes within WWE. The most shocking development in this entire saga was Stephanie McMahon's sudden resignation from WWE in January 2023. While the official story focused on her desire to spend more time with family, our investigation suggests the real reasons were far more complex and troubling. Multiple sources close to Stephanie indicate that she had become increasingly uncomfortable with the direction WWE was heading under its new corporate structure. More significantly, she reportedly felt that her marriage to Triple H was being used as a weapon against both of them by executives who wanted to minimize the McMahon family's influence. According to these sources, Stephanie received information suggesting that her personal life was being monitored and documented by corporate security, with particular focus on any signs of marital discord. She allegedly felt that staying in her corporate role would not only continue to damage her marriage but also provide ammunition for those seeking to remove Triple H from his position as well. The decision to resign was reportedly made after a series of intense private conversations with Triple H, during which they realized that their marriage had become collateral damage in a larger corporate power struggle. Friends of the couple suggest that Stephanie's exit was actually a strategic move designed to protect their relationship and remove one source of leverage that was being used against them. However, our sources also indicate that Triple H felt abandoned by Stephanie's decision to leave, viewing it as a betrayal at a time when he needed her support most. This reportedly created additional strain in their marriage, as Triple H struggled to maintain his position within WWE while dealing with the personal fallout from his wife's corporate exit. The situation was further complicated by the fact that Triple H's role as Chief Content Officer made him heavily dependent on corporate support that was becoming increasingly uncertain. Sources suggest he felt trapped between loyalty to his wife and the need to protect his own position and the wrestlers under his creative control. So where do things stand now? Our most recent intelligence suggests that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are indeed facing serious marital challenges, but the situation is far more complex than typical celebrity relationship problems. Sources close to the couple indicate they are currently undergoing intensive marriage counseling, but the sessions are complicated by the fact that many of their problems stem from external corporate pressures rather than fundamental incompatibilities between them personally. Triple H reportedly remains in his role as WWE's Chief Content Officer, but sources suggest he is operating under constant scrutiny from TKO executives who are looking for any excuse to make further leadership changes. The pressure of maintaining his position while dealing with marital problems has allegedly taken a significant toll on his health and well-being. Meanwhile, Stephanie has largely stepped away from public life, focusing on her children and reportedly exploring opportunities outside the wrestling industry entirely. Friends suggest she has become disillusioned with the corporate politics that destroyed her family's legacy within WWE. The most troubling aspect of the current situation is that sources indicate the couple's problems are being continuously monitored and analyzed by corporate interests who view their personal struggles as potential opportunities for further organizational changes. Some insiders suggest that certain TKO executives are actually hoping for a public divorce, believing it would provide the perfect justification for removing Triple H from his creative role and completing the transformation of WWE into a purely corporate entity with no remaining McMahon family influence. Wrestling Zone faithful, what we've uncovered here goes far beyond typical celebrity gossip or backstage drama. This is a story about how corporate greed and power politics can destroy personal relationships and family legacies that took decades to build. The alleged marriage crisis between Triple H and Stephanie McMahon isn't just a personal tragedy, it represents the systematic dismantling of everything that made WWE special for generations of wrestling fans. We're watching the transformation of a family business built on passion and personal relationships into a soulless corporate entity focused solely on quarterly profits. But here's what really gets me fired up about this situation: if our sources are accurate, then two people who genuinely love each other and have built a beautiful family together are being torn apart by corporate vultures who see their relationship as nothing more than an obstacle to maximizing shareholder value. The question now is whether Triple H and Stephanie can overcome these external pressures and save their marriage, or whether the corporate forces aligned against them will succeed in destroying one of wrestling's most iconic relationships. What do you think, Wrestling Zone family? Are we witnessing the deliberate destruction of the McMahon legacy? Can Triple H and Stephanie overcome these challenges? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to smash that like button if this investigation opened your eyes to what's really happening behind the scenes in WWE. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on because we'll be following this story closely and bringing you updates as soon as we get them. The truth behind this scandal is still unfolding, and Wrestling Zone will be here to expose every shocking detail. Until next time, keep questioning everything you see in the wrestling world, because the real stories are always more incredible than anything they show us on television.